Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by two veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation presents the ToosDay Crue. Before we kick things off, we have some solemn news as we have to remember 3 officers we've lost since our last show. First, police officer Samuel Riveros, Baldwin Park Police Department, California. End of watch, Saturday, May 31st, 2025. Police officer Timothy Ontiveros, Bloomfield Police Department, New Mexico. End of watch, Sunday, June 1st, 2025. And finally, Sergeant J.D. White, Angleton Police Department, Texas. End of watch, June 1st, 2025. Let's keep these officers, their families, their friends, their peers, and their communities in your thoughts and prayers as they go through a tumultuous time. And now, as we do every week, the boys are strapped in. We're done with NASCAR for the week. The boys have rocked it out at NASCAR. We're now here, ready to play. And play with the games. Let the boys be boys. Steve has tar in his feet from walking around the track in Nashville. Jake was riding the horses all weekend. So I want you to grab that buttered biscuits, reach up behind your head, pull down them straps, and let's get ready to rumble. Because the boys, they are back. Get it, boys.
Good evening, Misfit Nation. I want to do a quick shout out. Heroes Media Group for hooking us up this weekend with NASCAR. It was a great weekend. Saw a lot of good things. Did a lot of good things. I appreciate everything they did. Thank
I
you.
was keeping track of y'all while I had internet service in and out. I spent Saturday in the woods on horseback and just totally disconnected from everything except for my wife and that horse. And it was amazing. So yeah,
That's right.
it was a great weekend. And hey, Stephen, it was good to see you face to face last week. That's
Yeah,
that was a
I always
highlight.
love visiting you in the office, watching you work. Come and see my partner and crying.
Don't lie to people. You was not watching me work.
You were on the computer a little bit. You were working.
Okay, yes, but I had to take time out to host my guest.
Yes. And
Oh,
let's not forget, check us out Mondays on Reach Across America.
yes,
Our new
and
show
that is
Monday.
3
I'm
p.m.
sorry.
Eastern, correct?
Yes.
All right.
In case
And
I don't want to forget anybody. I'm in that zone. Let me just,
hey, hey, you can't see, but you can remember everything, right?
That's amazing. I'm blind as a bat, but I can remember things. So I can put on my glasses and I look like Stevie Wonder for you. I'll say like this while we're talking, and
Okay,
I don't know how well
yeah,
that's going to go over tonight. I can see now though.
awesome. Hey, if you're on here, you're feeling the darkness, you don't know what to do next, dial 988. If you're a veteran, take option 1. Somebody will be there to talk to you. If you don't want to do that, get a hold of us. I can be reached at jake@themisfitnation.com. Stephen is Stephen@themisfitnation.com. Write us up. Give us your phone number. Ask us for our phone number. We'll give it to you. We'll talk to you. We'll listen. That's just one.
I got one good ear. I'm listening, baby.
That's right. That's right. And if you're out there, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Without any further ado, we are going to get Dr. Albert Bramante on here. He is a triple threat. He empowers performers to overcome psychological roadblocks and achieve success. He's been a veteran talent agent for over 20 years, securing major roles for actors, unparalleled insights into the entertainment industry. Man, I got some questions for this guy. And his real superpower, that's what this is saying, is he takes his unique fusion of his experience with his Ph.D. in psychology and certifications in hypnosis and allows him to provide the audience with a credible expert on the perspective, mindset, and psychology of peak performance. So without further ado, let's get the doctor in here and maybe he can teach us how to, or tell us how to be better people.
Good evening, Albert.
Good evening, and thank you for both for having me on, and thank you for that nice introduction, Jay. So happy to be here.
Well, that was about the 2-cent introduction. If you want to, you start from wherever you want to start to how we got to where we are today.
Okay. Well, yeah, I do wear a couple different hats, as you know, as you should say. Primary occupation is I work with actors as an agent in New York City. That's where I'm from, in that area, New Jersey, New York. So I represent actors for film, TV, theater, commercial, print, and voiceover. And I also have a PhD in psychology. And so I've been teaching for 20 years as well. I teach psychology at community college. And I wrote a book back in 2024, published, and it has the title of it is called Rise Above the Script, and it deals with self-doubt and self-sabotage for performing artists.
Very cool.
Okay. I am sure if all of our listeners are true to form tonight, we are going to be answering not we, you are going to be answering all kind of questions.
I'm looking forward to it.
And yeah, so you work with actors. Now, I was reading your bio. Now, you're an agent as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I guess that's good because they're getting kind of a 2-for-1 there. Not only are they getting an agent, if if they need help up here, they can come talk to you about it.
Absolutely, and it helps with an agent. I mean, that's primarily the entry point that they work with me is I represent them for film and TV, and I unofficially, if they need coaching, I can give that to them.
Well, that's cool.
Awesome.
As the boss put up, I'm from New Jersey. That's what he was trying to let you know because he said in New York, New Jersey. I'm out by Newark, New Jersey.
Excellent.
Yeah.
When people say, "Can I help you, sir?" and my answer is normally, "Do you have a couch in a couple hours?"
Good response. There you go.
Well, I work retail, and every time I go shopping, and people say that, that's my go-to response. And they look at me for a second and just start laughing.
Must be exciting.
So, unlocking peak performance for actors. Now, I've got a few questions of my own here just before we get started. Is it true, a lot of people, you see a lot of actors out there and some of them, having problems or whatever. Are they pretty much a snapshot of society, or are a lot of them like pretty insecure, or are they type A personalities, or what?
It's a mix. I don't know if I would necessarily say type A, but they're dealing with a lot of obstacles in their way because it's a very exciting profession. Number one, show business, but it's also an extremely challenging one. Probably the most competitive industry that's out there because there's hundreds of thousands of actors in the United States, and only a limited amount of roles. So only 2 or 3% are really making enough money to make a living off of it. Most of the time, they need survival jobs such as bartending or catering or other types of work to sustain their interest and passion in acting. And it's not a 9 to 5 profession where there's a guaranteed job opportunity and stability. So artists operate kind of on the gig economy, which means that it's really gig to gig, not a job. And that can be challenging over time, especially if there's a long period or a long gap where there's no work. And then they get pressure sometimes from their family and friends that'll tell them, like, quote unquote, get a real job. And so that will sort of add to it over time. And what I would also say is a lot of actors, especially artists in general, are empaths, which means that they absorb other people's feelings and energy easily, which can sometimes add to it, especially if they're doing like character research and they're playing a character or doing research for a character that might have dark intentions or very complex.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand. Like if I had to play a serial killer and had to, get into the mind of a serial killer. Yeah, that would probably affect me a little bit.
That's like yesterday for you. What are you talking about?
Hush.
You don't have to get that into your mind. You're like, okay.
We'll edit that out. No.
You're thinking being a normal person, not a serial killer.
Hey,
switch it around there, bud.
Okay.
Now,
so if
I know, like one of my neighbors, her daughter went to school with my daughter. She does spots on like Law and Order, and she'll make appearances on Saturday Night Live. But it's not something that's constant. It's there, but it's not there. But then it's there. And I see that happening a lot in this area. You do get films being made in New Jersey and New York, but it's not a lot. It's there, but it's not.
Yeah. I mean, New York is more TV and theater, and there are some indie films. A lot of indie films and feature films shoot like in Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, and even LA or in Canada. So they film elsewhere. New York is mainly theater and TV. We do get some films, and it's not. That's correct. There's no stable job. It's time to time. There could be, times of an actor's life where it's pouring, where there's a lot of work coming in, and then it could be a drought for a couple of years, even where there's nothing.
Right. What was it? 8 months ago, they were doing Happy Gilmore 2 in Morristown. So
Yes.
people were getting on the job there, walk on roles and stuff. So like I said, you get the hits here and there. It's not something that's a constant flow.
That's correct. Yes.
Let me just answer a question that somebody asked real quick. At Clementine Wine, wanted to know what happened to me. Did I get hurt in Nashville? No. 4:30 this morning, I left my glasses on the counter, got in the Jeep, went to the airport to come home, and I am blind. I can put my sunglasses back on to see, but otherwise it's just, that's the only thing that's wrong today. Thanks for asking, though. I apologize, Albert. That's sort of the question. I didn't want to ignore them.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, where were we?
We're just talking about jobs and the stability of the gig economy, really, that actors find themselves in.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. It's like, okay, we're going to be doing this film for 6 weeks. Going to get paid this much for it. I got it done. Okay. I got enough money to get me through the next 6-8 months, maybe. Now I got to go out and look for another job. And yeah, that would be. But I suppose once you got good enough, if you get like a 6 film contract with somebody or something, like, that way you at least know that you've got that. But like you said, that's only 1 to 2% of the guys or people out there.
And out of the working actors, very rarely will someone get like a contract like that. And what can sometimes happen is you can have a streak for a while where you might be leading the TV series for a year, 2 years, and the show gets canceled. Now you're back to being an unemployed actor again.
Right.
And same thing with a film. You can have a good film release, and now you're an out-of-work actor again who has to audition for the next role. And hopefully you get it. So, and it's one of those, the statement goes that you're only really as good as your last job, whereas other professions, it's by reputation. You can get hired kind of automatically. Whereas in this community, no, you're only good as your last audition. Think about it, which can be a challenge.
Yes, it can.
Very big challenge sometimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, any more questions? No. All right. Now, what's a piece of advice that you could tell somebody who feels overwhelmed and maybe they're considering leaving the performing arts? What's something that you can kind of tell them that might get their wheels spinning in another direction?
Well, I would try to help them figure out what's going wrong. Now, they need new headshots. They might need a new demo reel. They might need a new marketing approach and resume makeover. So, I think the first thing we would have to figure out is what's going wrong in their current materials. Maybe they need to take more classes. Maybe their auditioning technique needs to be revamped and updated. So getting back into class again. And one of the things I often suggest for my actors and any actor in general is to have some outside interests and passions outside of the field. So hobbies, causes, something that'll give your life meaning in a sense, rather than just, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, worrying about if the phone is going to ring or when the next email is going to come in from as an offer or anything like that. So the idea is to find meaning in other activities too. And then if that still is like lingering, we want to take some time, maybe taking some time off.
Okay.
Rather than completely walking away. I've had actors who sometimes will say, look, I need to take a 6-month hiatus because I need to pay these bills, or I need to take care of a family member, an aging parent or an aging grandparent. So they may need to take 6 to 8 months off, which is fine. And now that sometimes that recharge, that rest and recharge, can reignite the passion again.
Okay. All right. I've seen some interviews with some of them, and like you say, they might need a reset, but not completely get out of it. I've seen some of them say that they go and act with local theater troops for a production of whatever they're doing for 6-8 months or through the summer season or whatever, and that kind of gives them a little recharge, and they come back in guns a-blazing.
Because actually performing on stage is really, that's true acting right there. Whereas film, you can often retake, reshoot, and edit and really make somebody a great actor. You can't really do that with live theater. You're in it. And sometimes that can really just reconnect someone to their roots, especially if they started in the theater. And I've seen that even with even Broadway performers sometimes taking a break, might do summer stock in local theater in Indiana. And it pays the bills, it helps them pay their insurance or pension. So they're keeping themselves active by doing that, and it gives them meaning. So whatever, that would be the first thing, just to go back, if someone's having doubts or as feeling overwhelmed, is figure out what's going wrong or what might be missing first before we just automatically say throw in the towel.
All right. Got a question here from Elephant 36. And Elephant 36 asks, what are the most common mental blocks you see in actors, and how can they begin to dismantle them? Thank you for that question, Elephant 36.
That's a very good question. So some of the mental blocks, again, is the self-doubt that comes in, especially when it comes to the instability. And then there's a lot of pressure sometimes with the audition, where you only have 1 or 2 minutes, and that's it. And you have to perform really high. So one way to overcome that block or that fear is to reframe that as an opportunity to use those 2 minutes to perform. And that's what really actors fell in love with acting, is the performing, telling a story. So rather than saying, okay, this is an all high stakes interview or audition, look at it as you get to work, you get to tell a story for 2 minutes. And you get to do what you love for 2 minutes. And then when that's over, you move on. And that's another thing too, I tell actors, after the audition is over, let it go. Don't worry, you can't change now the outcome. That's out of your control. So your focus should be, when should I generate the next audition? Rather than, you're dwelling on, did I get it? Did I do this? Did I do that? It's over. As soon as it's over, it's over. Move on.
Basically, don't sit there in the corner in the fetal position, rocking, waiting on it. Move on and try other things too. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah.
Because like you were saying, it's like you're doing a job interview every 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's and I can imagine that would put
stressful.
Put a strain on somebody. Now, in your book, you talk about the happy file.
Yes. And that could even go back to what that user's last question about the mental blocks. So the happy file is you take an actual physical journal or something that is like a notebook or even a journal, and you just write in there every time something good happens, or something, you get praised for something, you get positive feedback on an issue, you get a good review from an audience member, a compliment, and you always document every good thing. You get a callback, or you're in a final mix for a role, that's a good thing. That's a cause for celebration. And every time that you have moments of self-doubt where there may be some droughts or a period of a dry spell, you pull out that file and it'll remind you why you're doing what it is you're doing. And while this is great for actors, this is good for everybody to do. Just a way to keep stock of all the good things that happened, all the positive contributions that we made. So this way, when you look at that, it's hard to feel sad.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If all you do is look at happy stuff, I guess it would be kind of hard to feel sad.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. Hey, if you're just joining us, we are talking to Dr. Albert here, and he is talking to us about how he helps people in the performing arts overcome feelings of doubt, feelings of insecurity, and how he can help them basically get back on track. And Dr. Bramante has about over 20 years of experience in this. And so far, it's been a very interesting conversation. And we're going to go right into our next question we got here because they keep popping in.
At Truly Not Yours wants to know, can you explain how hypnosis or NLP actually helps performers shift their mindset or habits?
Sure.
Thank you, Truly Not Yours, for that question.
That's a great question. And so what hypnosis and NLP works with are limiting beliefs. So if you have that limiting belief, whether it's a fear of failure or even just performance anxiety that might be holding you back. So limiting that by relaxing you and having you focused on the performance angle can remove any blocks that you're performing. Now, a good technique that's kind of not necessarily we use it in hypnosis, but it's actually we don't really call it hypnosis, but is to positively visualize. So right before auditions come in, just spend some time and visualize the audition, the performance, and visualize it in a positive sense that it's happening and it's going very, very well. And you put yourself like you're almost watching yourself in a movie theater, watching yourself on screen, and it's going very, very well. And you just keep running that drill over and over again in your brain because the brain does not know the difference between reality and fiction. So automatically you're eliminating the nerves or the anxiety that comes with auditions, which will greatly enhance the performance at any level. So that's probably the number one advantage is that hypnosis and NLP will remove the performance anxiety factor, which I can guarantee you is that you're going to do a much better performance when that anxiety isn't holding you back anymore. And so that would probably be the biggest benefit. And then also just in general, it'll help you be more empowered by doing that. So like one of the things we look at, one of the statements that we often embrace with NLP is there's no such thing as rejection, so to speak. It's just a gentle reminder that your services are not needed today. So if you look at it like that, and that removes the personal factor out of rejection, because that's where a lot of actors get tripped up. Is they take the no as personally, and it's not. It's just a business. Your services are not needed today. That's all it is.
Okay.
So if you look at it like that.
Jake, was that you?
I accidentally hit that, but it's the next question on there if you want to pop it in there.
Okay. Simon told me wants to know, if you laugh, is it impossible to be angry? Do you agree with this?
To a degree. It's intention, because laughter can be also a sign of anger. When people get mad, they often laugh. When
I
people
could
get
also be
upset,
psychotic and laugh and want to murder you all at the same time. So I don't know.
No, the intention is laughter. I think, thinking a happy thought and laughing, yes, but there has to be a cognitive or mental component of laughing, not just the act of laughing. Because again, we laugh when we're angry, we laugh when we're uncomfortable, we laugh when we're sad. It's like a self-soothing thing to laugh.
Okay.
So it would have to be the intention behind it. Like, what is the intention behind the laughing? So, yeah, it's great.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah.
Jake?
No, I was looking. I was going to pop this next question up there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Truly Not Yours. Can you explain how hypnosis or NLP actually helps performers shift their mindset or habits? Thank you, Truly Not Yours.
Yeah, that's a good question. So going back to that, if you take the rejection out of it, you're going to be much more positive about that. And also, if you reframe it through meditation, you deserve to be here. You prepared well. You take the fear out of it. Your performance is going to be much more laser focused. Now, hypnosis and NLP is not going to make someone a better actor overnight. That comes with training and experience and actual acting training and acting coaching. Now, I'm not an acting coach, so that's not my wheelhouse. I would refer to it in an acting school or just an acting coach. So who can help you with the mechanics of it. Now, hypnosis and NLP can make you the best actor that you can be at the moment of what your training is and make the best out of your training, so complementing your training. And so it'll help you become a much better performer by removing the fear, removing the self-doubt and putting it with optimism and with focus.
Okay.
And that'll be a tremendous benefit.
All right. Now, I'll think of that question later because I had another question for you, but it kind of how I was framing it, it didn't come up. But we've got another one from the audience.
Ed Von Diesel wants to know, how do you coach someone through imposter syndrome, especially when they are actually succeeding? Thank you, Von Diesel, for that.
That's a very, very good question. And that's a myth. I'm glad that was brought up because a lot of people misunderstand imposter syndrome. A lot of high achievers have imposter syndrome, in a sense. So what can very often happen there is with imposter syndrome, you are sometimes doubting yourself, and just keep reminding yourself, that you're humble and that you're a human being, and it's quite common to have that imposter syndrome. So the important thing is just to take it day by day and to take stock of all your accomplishments. This is where, again, the happy file comes in. You take a look at everything you achieved. And it's like, yes, you do deserve to be here. You worked hard for it. You trained hard for this. You deserve to have success and seat at the table that everybody else is having.
Okay.
And I have a weird question for you. You, of course, watch a lot of TV. You see a lot of actors will play an FBI agent, then play a cop, and then play CIA. Do they have to keep that kind of role, or is it their mindset? They could do this, they could do that, but they can't be like a garbage man. They can't be a construction guy. It has to be the same kind of role in everything that they do.
Not necessarily, but it could be their wheelhouse. So, like, they did such a great job. It's like that actor becomes like a go-to person. You did cop, okay, this is your go-to person. You need a detective, this is your go-to person. There are certain actors that are really gifted at what they do, but it's not limited to things. Even if you look at the actor like Robin Williams, he played all different types of characters. He went, most of the time it was the comedic sidekick. There are times where he did some straight up dramatic roles, and there are times when he played some really demented characters. And he did all three of those perfectly. So it really depends upon what is the go-to trait. Another versatile actor is Anthony Hopkins. Now, most people know Anthony Hopkins from the Hannibal Lecter films.
Right.
That's his go-to person. But he's also played other, good characters throughout his decades of performance. So it really depends upon what the demand is. Now, some actors are just more destined for certain types of roles.
Okay, that's that's what I was trying to figure out, because you see, as the years go by, when shows change, it's like you're playing a cop, you're playing that, and it's always the same kind of role for these people. And it's not you're a janitor in this one and you're a genius in that one. Well, you can be a genius janitor, but you're not. It's just always same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just questions I had to ask.
No, that's a good question. And I think if an actor's just kind of like starting out or starting new in a business, yeah, you may be typecast a little bit. That's called typecast in a certain area. So you might be kind of, pigeonholed this area. And you can then, that's when I would probably recommend if somebody says, man, I don't want to play cops anymore, then I would sit there and say, okay, then we need to update your headshots so that you're a more friendlier and less serious type. And let's create a marketing material or a demo reel where you're playing, a more comedic type character. So now we can rebrand you a little bit differently.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Like wrestlers should play a heel and then they play a baby face, and you got to try to make like they're really working. That's what you have to go. Okay, it must be just a little bit harder work for them to have to switch around. You have to be ready for that switch.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, playing a police officer or a detective for years and years and years, and now I've got to play, I don't know, a doctor. Yeah, I don't think I could handle that. But
they're not too differently related. It's not too far fetched. I mean, I would say like if somebody who's played a police officer, we can play a doctor because let's take the elements of what a police officer would be. Serious, composed. Well, you can still be a serious, composed doctor. So,
okay,
this is where training comes in. So and then I would say, okay, maybe you need to just work with a couple sessions with an acting coach to kind of lay out the character, design the character.
Okay. All right. Now, what initially led you to connect self-sabotage with like people's careers and stuff directly with the challenges faced by performing artists?
Well, when I first started 21 years ago as an agent, the one thing that was really perplexing me and concerning me was that there were so many actors that were self-sabotaging, which what I mean by they would come up with excuses why they couldn't audition, not show up for an audition, be late to an audition, be unprepared for an audition. And yet their actions were kind of telling me they didn't want to be acting. Or that's what someone might think, well, maybe they don't really want to do this. But yet their words were telling me how much they wanted to work and stating how upset they were that there was no jobs coming in. And then in my head, I'm going, well, I have these jobs for you and you're not taking them seriously or taking them at all. So it became an issue like what's really going on here and why are actors their own worst enemy? And I've had other conversations with other agents and other people that work in the business. And that was the one thing that came up, how actors are their own worst enemy. Well, that's self-sabotage. And why it's sneaky is because anybody who really is engaging in self-sabotaging behavior doesn't realize they're doing it. It's not like you're going to say, hey, I'm self-sabotaging today.
Okay.
It's
But then you probably have some of them that are out there that are like, it doesn't matter if I show up prepared or late to this audition or not, I'm going to get it because of who I am. I'm sure that there's some of them out there like that.
And that's still a form of self-sabotage because what that often refers to, and I talk about this in my book a bit, is the distinction between high self-esteem and toxic high self-esteem, or inflated self-esteem. And that's describing what you said is like, I deserve it no matter what happens, is a grandiosity right there. And that's almost a narcissistic tendency where you're not being considerate of other people's time.
Okay.
And therefore you're going to get known of that because while there's, I did say there's thousands of actors, the industry is kind of small. So the producers and the casting directors is a small community. And sometimes if you do this mistake consistently as an actor, you can kind of get a negative reputation.
Oh, I'm sure.
And if you have a negative reputation, it doesn't matter how talented you are.
Oh, yeah, that's well, you can look out across the NFL and see that, or any of the sports. And we got another question I'm going to pop up there.
Candy Free Pop wants to know, Albert, what you were doing is awesome for those you're working with. Now, can it work with, say, a first responder or teachers?
Absolutely,
Thank you
because
for that.
that's a very good question, and yeah, because teachers, first responders deal with a lot of self-doubt, and especially, first responders. First of all, anybody who's a first responder listening, thank you for what you do. I can't say that enough. Thank you. So what often comes up there sometimes is you can save everybody. So there's that trauma of sometimes not being able to save somebody. So, and that can sometimes weigh in, even if you've done everything by the book and you did everything you could. Sometimes you just can't save somebody, and that can weigh into survivor's guilt to some level. So, or trauma in general, just witnessing some horrific things. So, but the important thing is whether you're a teacher or a first responder, really keep in the back of your mind what was the main reason or drive to do this. And I would say 90% or even above that is to help other people. And especially the first responders, you're helping people at their very worst.
Mm-hmm.
And so keep that in mind. That would be the best piece of advice I would say. You're really there doing such a great service. And the outcome sometimes may not go the way you want it, or the way that or the most desirable. It may not be the most desirable. However, you did what you can, and the point is that you showed up to work and you did some great things. So keep that up. And same thing as a teacher. There's sometimes things that are not in your control. The main thing is, again, keep the main reason why you're doing this in the back of your head, and that's to inspire children and students and future leaders of America.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, they're inspiring our future leaders. Yeah, they're doing this country a great service. They need to be out there and they need to be on their game.
100%. Yes.
All right, we got one more in. At Cold Player 76 wants to know, in your experience as a talent agent, what psychological traits separate those who make it from those who don't? Thank you, Cold Player 76, for that.
That's a very good question. I would say the biggest trait would be something called grit, Grit, or resilience. And that means perseverance in a sense, being focused, not giving up, showing up every day no matter what the outcome is. This is the point of this: keep showing up and being very proactive. So I would say take each day as a new opportunity, as a learning opportunity, and be excited for what is to come. The quickest way to be burnt out is when you start looking forward as your days as being, oh, I got to do this again. And when you start having that mentality, you're going to get burnt out. So rather than saying, I have to do this today, reframe it to the words, I get to do this today. So rather than saying, oh, I have 2 auditions, I have to go on 2 auditions, you can reframe it and say, I get to go on 2 auditions, or I get to go on 2 interviews, or I get to go teach today. So when you take that mentality that I get to do this, it's more empowering.
Yes, and that's great advice. I think anybody in no matter what line of work that they're in, that you can apply that. And
definitely,
and truthfully, I'm thankful that I get to go to work in the morning, because that means I get to pay my bills, get to have a house to live in. So,
and Jake and I get to host a ToosDay Crue show.
Yes,
exactly, and I get to be a guest. So it all works. It all works when you have that and that simple shift, like the simple 3-letter word "get," can be pretty powerful, because it transforms into a more of an opportunity. And when you already have that excitement, I can guarantee you're going to be more high performing no matter what it is you're doing.
I think the only one I need to work on is I get to work with the public, because I work retail. I've juggled with that for a long time. I get to work with the public. Like I can smile, but I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, and also I think that if you use the word get, I think that seeds into an attitude of gratitude, and that's just, I don't know. I've been trying it, and I've got a more positive outlook on things, truthfully.
Yes.
And so, yes. So I highly suggest that.
Absolutely very powerful.
It is.
Oh, we got a question here, Stephen, from somebody famous.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Henry VIII's brother, Henry V?
Henry
V wants to know, what is one daily mental habit or exercise every performer should be doing, but most aren't? Thank you, Henry V, for that.
Very good question. I would say the main thing to do is again, the visualization. So take 2 or 3 minutes, even when you wake up, and kind of visualize what your day is going to be like. So if you're going to be as a performer, if you're going to be in a couple classes that day, if you're going to be doing a performance, you're going to be doing an audition, visualize yourself doing a very good job at that, and run it through your head a couple of cycles, couple of minutes, especially when you get up in the morning. You don't have to do more than 5 minutes in the morning. But I would say that habit, and do it consistently, one or two times may not make that much of a difference, but over time it will, and be consistent in that. That's the biggest thing with these techniques or habits, any productivity habits, mental habits, is they have to be done consistently.
Okay, and I want to stress to our listeners, and just going through some stuff here and listen to you speak. You don't have to be an actor or performer to use these techniques.
100% true.
That they will work. You can mold them to fit into whatever you're doing in your life. And, maybe we've already talked about this, but, I like the how you talked about raising self-esteem and what techniques that you use to raise self-esteem, because personally, I think a couple things that cause people not to do anything is, one, fear of failure, and two, they don't have the confidence or the self-esteem in themselves or their abilities to do it. So just go over, just some self-esteem building techniques again that, and perhaps, do you have a success story? You don't have to mention names, but do you have a success story that these techniques worked on and now they're famous?
Well, I can tell you that these techniques work because sometimes actors have dry spells when it comes to auditions. So there was one client that I was working with who was also a student in an acting class that I was guest instructoring on for a while. I was giving my perspective as an agent. So she was working in the industry for like 9 or 10 years and had very little success, but she was still determined to learn. But she had a very meek demeanor to it when it comes to performing, but she had a very powerful style when it came to her communication. Like, off the camera. So what we work to do with her is adopt this persona to her acting. This tough, powerful persona that she was giving off when she wasn't acting to the roles that she was playing. And it took a little bit of practice and a little bit of confidence building. And over time, I think a month of doing this, she booked like 3 TV roles back to back. Walk-on roles on TV shows like Orange is the New Black, FBI, and then Law and Order SVU. So it's all about sometimes embracing the power. Now, to raise self-esteem, a couple of things pop in there. Number one, watch the company you keep. So hang out with people that are more successful or successful as you are. So, I'm going to kind of borrow from like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, where the principle of proximity is power. So hang out with some people that are more successful or as successful as you are or want to be, because the company you keep will rub off on you. And also do something every day that kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. It's stepping outside your comfort zone.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a huge monumental action, but something small and tiny. Giving a public speech, going to Toastmaster Club and giving a public speech, or turning a camera on the internet and going live. And while that might be uncomfortable for a lot of people, it's when you do more things that make you uncomfortable, it raises your self-esteem.
Okay.
So, Albert, if we have any guests out there that are actors or wanting to be actors and they have questions, how do they get in touch with you?
So they can find me at my LinkedIn under Albert Bramante. They can also, and I could put this, send you guys an email, but you can also go to my website, Bramante Artists, my agency website, BramanteArtists.com, and there's a form that we have in there for actors that are submitting for representation. So they can fill that out, and we'll take a look at the materials. And I can't guarantee that we're going to interview everybody that submits for on our website, because we get anywhere from 50 to 100 a week, and I don't have we don't have the manpower to do that. So, but I will take a look at it. I can guarantee you that.
Okay, and we got one more. I think we got time for one more question here.
Okay,
it popped in. I think you probably already answered this, but I'm going to pop it up there anyway. From Villy Vu Van Trey True. What is a story of a client you took from near quitting to success?
Well, I would definitely say that one was the one that I just mentioned, because there was thought of her walking away, because she did have a corporate job as her day job in a sense. So there was that one where it's just like, well, I'm going to give up this acting thing, and I'm glad she didn't, and I'm sure she's glad it's too that she didn't. But that sometimes can happen, and I've had other actors who would sometimes say, I'm thinking of giving up the industry, and then, next thing you know, they book a TV show.
Okay.
And you can look at, I would definitely recommend checking the Screen Actors Guild Awards every year, because very often you'll hear stories of award winners. They'll tell their stories of when they were at their low moments.
Great.
All right. Well, this hour has went by pretty quick. What do you say, Stephen?
We had a very good chat going on. I love it.
Yes,
great.
Very good show, very informative. And Albert, I learned a little bit. I knew that they probably had coaches other than acting coaches helping them with, self-doubt and self-esteem and all that stuff. But, the stereotype everybody thinks about actors, they're all rich and, that, but, you've kind of shed some light on that, and we found out that that's really not true. There's a handful of them out there that are probably beyond rich, but, for the most part, they're blue collar folks. And a lot of hard work goes into that, and
100%, yes,
you gotta respect a lot of them for that. So I thank you for coming on and shedding some light on that. Now, as we're nearing the end of our show, we've got how we can contact you. We've got if people have questions, where they can go to send in forms and maybe ask for representation, or if they want to be represented. Now, I've got another question for you.
Okay.
I need 3 non-negotiables that you must do every day, or your day is not complete.
Well, I would definitely say have a plan. Number one, have a plan of focus for your day.
Okay, have a plan or focus for the day.
Even before you set foot, and it doesn't really matter if that's the way the day goes, but you already have an intention for the day.
Okay.
Also, I would say positivity, having a positive mindset for the day. And I would say, like, I wouldn't wake up and think, oh, I'm gonna have a bad day today, or this day isn't gonna go my way, because it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So having a positive mindset is the number two, and I guess number three would be get a good night's sleep.
Okay. All right. Sound advice. Very sound advice. Misfit Nation, ToosDay Crue. This has been Dr. Albert Bramante. And
Thank you, Bill.
again, if you're out there, you're feeling the darkness, dial 988. If you're a veteran, pop option 1. They will listen to you, because tomorrow will be a more beautiful day with you in it. And we want you here. And if you don't want to talk to them, reach out to one of us and we will get back with you and we'll have a chat.
Yes.
And that's all. Any parting words, Stephen?
No, I just think it was a great chat tonight. I want to thank you again, Albert. Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
And thank you both. Thank you both for having me.
It was great. Stephen, you still look tired from the race.
I'm always tired. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Well, until next week, ToosDay Crue, we love you. We'll see you
Good night, everybody. Albert, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.